Greetings, Internet people. Ranting Ramsey here. How are you all doing today? I want to start off by saying hello and thanks to all of my new recent subscribers. There's been a lot of you. And just in the interest of fairness, I'll say, hey, what's up to all of my loyal and long-standing subscribers as well. There, nobody should feel left out. You have to pardon, I'm a little stuffy today, so if I sound a little nasal, that would be why. We're gonna forget what we were gonna say for a minute, and then we're going to go on and explain that today we're doing kind of a double rant request. I went through my messages and found a couple of semi-related requests and decided to go ahead and put them together into one video because I figured I wasn't going to be able to talk about one very easily without segueing into the next subject. So we've got two different rant requests from two different requesters come today, and the first part we're going to talk about comes from a request from Kevin Triforce is the username. That's capital K, space between the two, capital T. And he asked me, can you please do a rant on your thoughts about the Nintendo 3DS and a rant on your thoughts on who won E3 2010. And the reason I chose to do this is because the answer is actually no. I can't, and I'll explain why. Number one, I have been pretty much ignoring Nintendo since the GameCube. I used to be 100% completely and utterly Nintendo loyal. I only bought Nintendo consoles. I guess you could call me a Nintendo fanboy at that point. That I didn't want to hear about Sega, I didn't want to hear about Sony or Dreamcast or any of that shit. I just wanted to play my Nintendo, my Super Nintendo or my Nintendo 64, the glorified doorstop. And so I was really into Nintendo, but then they pretty much I felt betrayed as a consumer with the decisions they made in marketing. Like the GameCube had to be one of the most god-awful, uncomfortable controllers in the world with some of the worst graphics in that stupid format with little mini discs was just so aggravating. And so that kind of turned me off to Nintendo. And then, I've never really been huge into handhelds. I have a PSP, but that's more because I'm like a media whore, and I can do all kinds of things with my PSP and movies and all this shit. So that's the only reason I have that. So I never really got into any of the Nintendo portable stuff, and so I've pretty much just been ignoring Nintendo's existence, especially since they released the Wii. Because I have, as I've mentioned in some of my older videos, I absolutely hate the Wii. it's the most god-awful video gaming device I've ever seen to bear a major maker's name. And, There's a few reasons why, and number one, I think the graphics on the Wii are just the most absolutely most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. And here's an example as to exactly why. Some friends of mine and I were sitting around watching TV on DVR, and apparently only a couple of us knew this because a bunch of other people had walked in the room late, and we're skipping through something, we come across a commercial for a video game, and everyone in the room is a gamer, and the people that came in late start making comments about what they're seeing, and everything they kept saying basically revolved around, wow, are we watching an old tape from the mid-90s or something like that? And just as someone literally asked, are we watching a videotape from 1997? Based on the graphics for the commercial we see, the screen then goes black and then cuts to the user reviews, and it says, some of the best graphics for the Wii yet. And we all looked at each other and looked at it, and because these graphics literally looked like they were from a game from like 1998. It was absolutely fucking horrible, and yet these were the cutting-edge Wii graphics. And that was just like the nail in the coffin for me. I was just like, Wii is done. I mean, forget the fact I hate the whole me avatar thing. I hate super deformed characters. Anything where the head is as big as the rest of the body, no, get it out of here. I don't want to see that. So I really have no opinion on the Nintendo 3DS other than it probably sucks, because it's my opinion that most of the things that Nintendo does sucks. And so then he goes on to ask me what my opinion's on who won E3. I gotta be honest, I don't pay attention to E3. It's just there's so many years where I paid attention to E3 and they hyped up Item X and they're like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever, and then one of two things happened. Item X either never came out or Item X was released severely revamped from its E3 preview. So it's just, I don't even really pay much attention to E3 anymore. I actually rely on video game magazines, usually most published by OneUp.com or OneUp Publishing, and let them tell me what to pay attention to, because E3 is nothing but fucking hype, and I hate it. Alright, hopefully we have enough time. We're segueing on to related. Second request comes from the Supreme Nerdist, who says, hey man, I want to know your opinion on Xbox and Sony bringing motion control to their video game systems. It appears that most of the hardcore gamers are completely against this. How do you feel about it? This is kind of the other part of the Wii rant that I didn't really touch, and this is how I feel the two things are linked. I don't necessarily have a problem with motion control as a gimmick, but when that is the whole prop for your video gaming system, it's a little weak. Yes, I understand it's a whole new phase of gaming. And there's a lot of people I know that have the opinion of, well, that's the next step into being able to interact with your video game. I don't want to interact with my video game. Part of the appeal of playing a video game is sitting on my ass and bending my mind a little bit. And maybe if I'm just playing some mindless shooter, then I'm not even really bending my mind at all. The whole point is to shut down for a while, at least for me, unless I want to play a game that has puzzles in it or challenges my intellect. But for the most part, when I'm playing a game, I just want to sit down and tune the fuck out. So getting up with the motion control thing doesn't really make me all that excited. And now the Sony Move, I will probably never buy the Sony Move. And one of the reasons, aside from everything that I just stated, is that I don't think that we're going to see it at its best technology right now. That this technology is going to be shoddy and spotty at best for at least another 3 or 4 years. And if I am eventually going to get down on it, I'd rather get down on a more perfected form of said control. I don't want to have to deal with all the bugs and the tweaks with new fucking technology that is always there. So that's one reason why I'm not that big about the Sony Move. Like, for example, SOCOM 4 is supposed to be released, and from everything that I have gathered, it is going to be heavily dependent upon the Sony Move, although they say that they're going to not have the controller-based control compromise. And my whole thing is, it damn well better not, because once again, SOCOM is one of my absolute favorite game series. They absolutely screwed the pooch with Confrontation, but, you know, that happens every now and again. And I'm going to be severely disappointed if the gameplay is hampered by not going like this with a freaking stupid motion controller or whatever. If you just want to sit there and play with your standard controller, you're at a disadvantage. I'm going to be severely upset. Just because, like I said, my main reason is my video game time is to sit down, tune out, and chill. And standing up with a fucking little magic wand, wavy looking thing with a gay ass colored ball on the top just really doesn't tickle my fancy. So, that's pretty much it. That's what I have to say on those multiple subjects from the multiple requesters. Hopefully I have time for this last thing. If you haven't noticed, if you didn't know, if you haven't paid attention, the Archfiend is back. Go to his channel, check out his shit. He's going live tonight around 6 p.m. when I'm going to be at work. So, someone will have to tell me how that went, or maybe he'll have to record it and post it or something. I don't know. But there it is. There you have it. I'm Ranting Ramsey. That is all.
Hey, did you get all that, man?